Well, I first met Brad Board when he hired me in the spring of 1993 as a fourth grade teacher at Deep Haven Elementary. Brad was always so encouraging and inspiring and forgiving. One story that comes to mind is I was in a post-observation conference with him, and I was a little bit down about the lesson that he observed. And he said to me, "Hey, you don't expect to be perfect right away, do you? Why don't you just focus on one thing at a time?" And for me, it was math, so I focused on math. And then he said, "Okay, you're doing well in math, now focus on reading." And over time, I became a good teacher, largely thanks to his encouragement. So Brad, thank you for always being such a master encourager, and you inspired me. One thing Brad also did is he asked good questions. He didn't provide the answers, he just asked really good questions and forced me to think really critically about my work. You know, Brad was always a mentor and a role model for me. When Brad said, you should think about doing your master's degree, I did it. You should think about becoming a principal. So I finished my administrative license. And the amazing thing about Brad is I thought he was my mentor and my role model. And then I talk to people and they say, "Oh, Brad Board, he inspired me. He was my mentor. He was my role model." So he did it for many, many, many people over so many years. And Brad, I can't thank you enough for what you've meant to me. You've changed my life. You've made me a better man, better teacher, better husband, and you mean the world to me. So congratulations, Brad. I can't think of a more deserving person for this award.
So fun to see so many, I want to say old friends, but longtime friends and acquaintances. As I said to some of the basketball players, I guess the older we get, the better we were. It's strange and wonderful at the same time coming back home here after 10 years of living in the Pacific Northwest. It's strange feeling like a guest in a place that you called home for 56 years. But it's wonderful coming back to Skipper Blue Country. They asked me to provide a recent picture of myself, and I still coach high school tennis at Skyline High School, a very similar high school to Minnetonka in Sammamish. So you see me in my Skyline Edina green. So every time I come home, I have to take 2 showers so I get back to Skipper Blue. Minnetonka Schools has been part of our family tradition for almost 100 years. For my grandfather was on the school board at Groveland School in the 20s. My father and my aunts and uncles went through Groveland School and Deep Haven High School. Then my sisters and I went through the schools in the 50s and 60s. So it's really been a tradition here. In fact, seeing the building and the changing of the building, I started first grade 60 years ago, about 60 feet from here. They had extra space in the high school, so they shipped us over here from Groveland School, and we had first grade. I think it's not too far from here. I can't tell where things are anymore. And then, of course, my sister carries on the tradition as leadership in the Alumni Association. It's hard to know what to talk about in a moment like this. I'd just like to share just a couple of thoughts, some reminiscences, and then finally a couple of feelings here. To grow up in the community gives me great pride and gratitude for the high quality of life and the way the community invested in the lives of young people. The memories I've had of baseball at Bennett Park. Eddie Hewitt, where are you, Eddie? Ed's dad was one of the best coaches I ever had. Tennis at the Assembly Grounds, the Deep Haven Beach, Saturday morning basketball at Old Groveland Gym, Harold Melby opening the gym before youth sports were popular. Excelsior Park, Snuffy's Drive-In. We didn't have any restaurants out here at the time. Snuffy's Drive-In was about it. Seven High, a drive-in theater, all kinds of things like that. Well, even though I wasn't the most serious student in high school, I'm very grateful for the education I received and the quality that allowed me to go on and be the first in my family to graduate from college, and it motivated me to pursue graduate school. I'm proud and grateful for teachers and coaches who motivated me to pursue a 34-year career in teaching and learning and the opportunity to influence and impact others. Some of those teachers that come to mind are Mrs. Levine, Mr. Rosidlo, Mr. Cravey, John Davenport. John is here today as well. I'm grateful and proud of the talented and creative students who worked hard and made me laugh. I'm reminded of the kindergarten student in Daryl Seifert's class who she's a very proactive teacher. She wrote a letter welcoming him to school. The first day he walked into kindergarten and Daryl says, "And what's your name?" And he looked up at her and he said, "Well, don't you know you wrote me a letter?" I'm grateful for many, many opportunities to work in a quality school district where literally thousands of teachers wanted to work here. In fact, over the years, as we started hiring again after the 70s and the 80s, we'd have thousands of applicants for each job. Another feeling I'm feeling today is humility. Humbled to be recognized like this. But in my career, I had many opportunities to be humble. I remember teaching language arts, and we had a complex Robert's Rules of Order language program. And one of the students asked me a particularly complex grammar question, and it was just very lucky that I knew the answer. She looked up and she said, "You're really smart, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, I just try to stay one day ahead of each of you." And David Sulsener in the back of the room said, "You think you're a day ahead of us?" But I'm humbled to have worked with people like Harold Melby and Ron Ostrom as I student taught at Groveland School. They helped me realize how much I had to learn as a teacher. I was humbled to begin my career at Scenic Heights with quality people like Jim Lewis, Catherine Little, my partner Dick Oakers, Shelby Loger, Heidi Larson, and longtime childhood friend Bill Seibert, all professionals who combined their love for students and created a model school community. I'd like to also thank Lynn Street. I saw Lynn earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but Lynn is the one that said, "You know, you might make a good principal someday if you just got a thicker skin." And he was probably right. Humbled by cutting my teeth as an administrator in the athletic department. Things were different then. We had just laid off 25% of our staff because the state only gave us 75% of the funding they had promised us. I was a temporary acting principal at Clear Springs. Dale Roosh came over my first day on the job. He said, "Here's 8 pink slips that you have to deliver personally." So that's how I started my administrative career. Not only that, the top slip was my own. So I went, "Thanks, Brad, for 12 years of service." But working in the athletic department with people like Maxine Gosen and memories of Einar Anderson, coaches like Walt West, Bill Dietrich, Bob Quam, Ernie DeSantis, my tennis coach, all invested hours and hours into development of many young people. A highlight of my career was spending nearly 15 years at Deep Haven, where I was able to hire over 80% of the staff. Some are here today, and I'd like to recognize this table. Jackie, you were Deep Haven staff many years. There you go, Jackie Cravey. And then to be mentored by the likes of Don Dreyer, Jim Jones, Dale Roosh, Tom Berge, Mike Levitt, Linda Sakinen, Dr. Peterson, and other administrative colleagues who believed in me, supported me, and challenged me to be more and do more than I even believed possible. And then we couldn't have had the success we had without the parent-teacher organization, an exceptional parent community who wanted the best for their children and provided volunteer time and resources to help make the district the excellent district it is. And then finally, I'm humbled by the 20 years that my mother spent as head secretary at Deep Haven Junior High at the time, and then at finishing her career at East Junior High. And finally, I'm grateful to my wife, Leanne, and my children who are always proud of my career and gave up much family time so I could fulfill my desires to be a teacher. Final thoughts. Teachers, you've got a great challenge ahead of you. Those that are still teaching. I know the times are changing. There's great challenges ahead. Just keep investing in these young people. For you volunteers and you retirees, like the research from Search Institute teaches us, all students need 5 significant adults in their life at any given time. So keep investing in the kids. And that's why, for me, I've found the last 10 years that retirement is a myth, that meaningful work is important, and Minnetonka has prepared me to continue to teach and coach and work with young people, as well as take my skills and transfer them into the business world. I get an opportunity to work for a company called the Pacific Institute. We work in companies in cultural transformation. We work in companies for organizational development and leadership development, and all the skills that I gained here as a student and a teacher and an administrator have prepared me for that. So thank you for this very special day. These memories will stay with me forever, and it's been great being back with you.